Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. I'm Mark Stein. Tucker is off celebrating Boxing Day, which is deplorably un-American of him. We hope you all enjoyed a Christmas respite from politics, but it hasn't taken long for things to get back into full swing. This morning, motivated by a story he saw here on Fox, President Trump lashed out against the FBI over the infamous, salacious Trump dossier. The president tweeted, "Wow, dossier is bogus. Clinton campaign DNC funded dossier. FBI cannot, after all of this time, verify claims in dossier of Russia-Trump collusion. FBI tainted." And they use this crooked Hillary pile of garbage as the basis for going after the Trump campaign. Robin Biro was regional campaign director for Barack Obama's presidential campaign. Robin, this MI6 agent cooked up the dossier in a couple of weeks, and the FBI have been investigating it now for a year and a half and have been unable to confirm anything except that one guy called Carter Page did actually get on a plane to Russia at some point. Otherwise, after 18 months, all uncorroborated. How much time do you think the FBI should take? Another 2 years, another 3 years, 4 years, 5?
I sure hope not, Mark, because the taxpayers are funding this investigation. I do want to remember that. But the FBI has a responsibility to go through all of anything that's presented to them as possible evidence and leave no stone unturned. That includes this dossier. So much of it has been found to be not true. The veracity, they say, should be very much questioned. But just like any law enforcement official, they have to follow the leads, and they have done their due diligence, and it's turning out to not be true. That's why Hillary Clinton did not use it. That's why the Republican candidate who initially funded this dossier did not use it and eventually sold it to Hillary Clinton. But, you know, it was never used.
Yeah, so you're saying there's a bit of Oppo research that the people who paid for it didn't even bother using, but it has somehow justified an 18-month investigation into the sitting president. If we flip this around, if, say, the GOP had found some French spy instead of an MI6 guy to come up with a salacious dossier saying the Democrat candidate is up to all kinds of kinky shenanigans in Eastern Europe, would you be happy to have the FBI investigate obvious nonsense for 18 months?
No, I would not. But it does, like I said, it's just their due diligence of investigating, leaving no stone unturned. But I want to remind you that what led to this was the firing of Director Comey very unceremoniously. No. And all of there were multiple instances of the Russian government trying to hack into voting systems in several states. So there were lots of things that triggered this. It was not just this dossier, as Donald Trump himself tried to allude to this morning.
Well, wait a minute. This Russia investigation has actually been going on for longer. It predates the election. So, in other words, why would the Russians be trying to hack into a voting machine in Iowa in June of 2016?
Mark, because they have an agenda to fulfill, and disrupting our way of democracy suits their agenda. They are our adversary. Make no mistake about it. I myself am a veteran Army Ranger. I know that Russia is our adversary. They are not looking out for our best interest. Yeah, but
we have a situation here where the only thing that concrete that anyone's been able to find is that Putin paid for 100 grand's worth of Facebook ads. I never knew, speaking as someone who's not even eligible to run, I didn't know you could steal an election for 100,000 in Facebook ads when your candidate, Mrs. Clinton, spent $2/3 billion. You spend $2/3 billion, but a guy comes along and buys 100 grand of Facebook ads, and boom, snaffles the election away. Is that the theory?
No, like I said, I think the real problem here is when we found evidence that they tried to actually affect the voting machines in those states. That is a serious problem, and I'm glad that the FBI is looking into it. We should all do that. We should all want the FBI to make sure that our way of democracy is protected and defended. They have an oath to defend and protect our Constitution against enemies, foreign and domestic. We have to make sure that Donald Trump is not an enemy of the state. state by colluding with Russia.
Well, taking your line that Russia is a geopolitical strategic enemy of the United States, they managed to get this election-stealing racket, whatever it is, hacking into voting machines in New Hampshire or Florida or wherever, up and running. We've been investigating this now for 18 months. Why can't the FBI wrap up an investigation into an election campaign in less than the 2-year period between elections?
Mark, we are not privy to that information, just like we were not privy to all of the information into Bill Clinton and Watergate, which ended up birthing the Monica Lewinsky scandal. We don't have all of that information. So it's impossible and preposterous for us right now to speculate on why it is taking this long. They are doing their jobs. They are public servants doing their jobs, and they're under attack on the daily by Donald Trump, who I think is doing a PSYOP campaign because he knows that there's more information coming and he wants to plant a seed of doubt in the public. To me, that is reprehensible.
Well, Robin, thanks for framing it as a PSYOPs campaign. If you're actually targeted by the FBI, I'm not sure you need PSYOPs to want to protest against that. Tom Fitton is the president of Judicial Watch. And Tom, Robin was rather coy about that. But basically, this totally worthless dossier has had an incredible life. It's like a zombie. You cannot drive a stake through this piece of garbage thing that a foreign spy cooked up for the Democrats. It's running around like a mechanical hare all across town. Has it got any probative value, as the lawyers like to say?
Well, according to your news organization's reporting on the testimony of Andrew McCabe, the number 2 at the FBI, they couldn't confirm anything, or he refused to confirm anything beyond the fact that Carter Page, a campaign advisor to the Trump campaign, may have traveled to Russia.
Right.
Other than that, there's nothing they've been able to confirm. But what we have been able to confirm is that the authors of the Trump dossier were Clinton campaign vendors. And they were working with the Obama Justice Department and the Obama FBI. And the FBI of the Obama administration was, the leadership there was vehemently anti-Trump, it's now evident. And they laundered this campaign document into the Justice Department and FBI, and it may have been used to spy on the Trump campaign. And it still may be being used by Robert Mueller. Right. So, to the degree the dossier is still being used by Mueller, it's a real ethical concern because of where it came from.
No, I agree with you on that, Tom. I mean, in a sense, it's a bit like what in Hollywood Alfred Hitchcock used to call the MacGuffin. It's like used as the pretext to set the game afoot. In other words, it had no value as Oppo research to Hillary Clinton, but it had value to the government, the outgoing government, in getting them into a position where they could surveil their political opponents. That's the conspiracy theory.
And it gets even worse for Mrs. Clinton, because what happened is that Mrs. Clinton used her law firm, her campaign's law firm, as a cutout to spend money on this Fusion GPS dossier effort, who went to Russia, supposedly, to talk to intelligence people and intelligence sources in Russia. So you had the Clinton campaign spending money to send people to Russia to find dirt on Donald Trump, and Donald Trump's the one under investigation on collusion. And to me, this is a political investigation. It was designed by never-Trumpers, anti-Trumpers, right, whatever you want to call it. James Comey obviously did not like President Trump, and he leaked information in order to get this appointment of Robert Mueller. And it's just gone downhill from there. Now we found out the top FBI agent under Mueller, in terms of counterintelligence, was a never-Trumper. The number 2, Andrew Weissman, the number 2 prosecutor on his team, attended Hillary Clinton's election night party. And was sending friendly emails to Sally Yates as she thwarted the rule of law at the Justice Department.
That's
the Obama holdover.
That's actually incredible, Tom. Thank you for that.